Greetings everyone, I'm Record the Second, and welcome to the third video in the series, I guess, of videos I am making about the next update for mob tweaks, version 1.2, or the geared up for Mayhem update. Now I know it's been 3 months or so since the last video. Really sorry about that, just got really burnt out and not doing the best mentally, honestly, but I did want to start releasing videos again, so I'll try my best to not be too dour in this one. But I wanted to cover the Zombie Nautilus and the regular Nautilus changes in this one as promised in the earlier videos. But first, there's a couple other things I want to show, and if you don't care because it's kind of miscellaneous and not really related to the video, you can just skip to the chapter where I start talking about the Nautilus stuff. But first, I want to show that there are some replacements that I've made. For example, there's a large percentage of zombies that will be now replaced by husks in Badlands biomes, because I thought having them represented in more than one biome will be better. And they will keep the same equipment as the zombies. And also I did the same for savannas, just that a smaller amount will get replaced compared to the Badlands. So still a few, but not too many, which allows there to be husks riding zombie horses on rare occasions. So that's like a rare mob you can find now in mob tweaks. And I did the same with skeletons and parched. So now some of them will become parched in the savanna biome, but not that many. And a lot more, but still not all of them, in the Badlands biome. So you'll see these guys populating the Badlands biomes. They're still most common in the desert, and same goes for the husks, but they are going to be now in these ones as well. Another thing about the parched is that I nerfed them compared to vanilla. So in vanilla, they have more health, more follow range, and more speed. All of these things have been reduced to make them a bit easier to fight, so they're not as OP as they used to be. I also reduced the health and follow range of regular skeletons by a tiny amount, just to make them a bit easier to fight. I also made it so that zombies now have a chance to be replaced by drowned in either swamp biome, as you can see right here. There's also more changes in the Lush caves as well. Mobs now have a chance to spawn with oozing in the Lush caves, same way they did in the swamps. So I just added this to the Lush caves as well because it's a humid environment, and I thought that just makes a lot of sense. There's also some drowned replacements of the zombies in the Lush caves as well, just being refitted for a cave environment rather than an ocean, of course. So that zombie has oozing as an example. There's also a couple of spider changes I made. So in the Lush caves, spiders have a chance to be replaced by slimes, as you just saw. And in any cave environment, they have a chance to be replaced by cave spiders. But in case you were not familiar with mob tweaks, they have been severely nerfed compared to vanilla. So it's not going to be that hard dealing with them. It's just going to be more appropriate, because why don't we have cave spiders in caves? So that just makes no sense, right? But also, if a spider spawns with an effect, then that effect will be inherited by the converted cave spider. So now you'll be able to have, for example, swiftness or invisibility cave spiders, and that does make them more tough, but those are still pretty rare, all things considered. I also made Impaling actually work on drowned, so it's going to be efficient against them, because in vanilla, the only mob you really want to use it for is guardians. So I just think that making Impaling more usable by making drowned be affected by it is a good change. Now let's get into the Nautilus stuff finally. So the number one thing I changed is that I buffed them quite a bit. Both the zombie and the regular Nautili mobs have a lot more health now, and they also have a higher armor stat, so breach will technically do more damage to them. I just thought it makes sense because they have big shells, so having a higher armor stat just is logical. I also made a change where untamed zombie Nautili will actually be hostile towards regular Nautili. Also, a quick shameless plug, I made craftable Nautilus shells in the last update of my recipe tweaks datapack, which also adds a lot of other cool features to the game, like more craftable decorative blocks, craftable horse armor, and a bunch of other tweaks. So check that out if you want. But back to our topic here. Now, before I show you the babies, let me just show you that there are different varieties. The frozen oceans will have the frozen zombie Nautilus. This is actually not a finished design, but this is showing you kind of the direction it's going for. It's going to be covered in ice, and obviously the babies also will have these just smaller versions. This is a placeholder texture, but that's a frozen baby Nautilus. Lukewarm oceans will have these lukewarm Zombie Nautili, which I think are very cool looking. They have cool little details on their textures, similar to the warm Nautilus, but still unique in its own way. The cold oceans have these plain looking Zombie Nautili, which just have a shell and a bluer body. So now there are 5 types of Zombie Nautilus you can tame in the game, which is pretty cool. And they match the temperature of the existing biomes, so I think it's a very fitting addition to vanilla. Now let's get into the babies. Now the babies are pretty fun because they're not exactly like the adults. They're smaller, they're weaker, but they also are hostile to players, which is something that adults are not. This guy, right away, as soon as I get in the water, will start attacking me with its dash ability. And they are not even that weak, honestly. They do not have a lot of health, but they can deal a little bit of damage, especially if they have Baby Drowned riding them. And I've also replaced the salmon jockeys in oceans with these Zombie Nautilus jockeys. So the babies, instead of riding large salmon, will now be riding these new baby Zotuli in the ocean biomes. So not in rivers. In rivers you'll still have the salmon jockeys, but in the ocean biomes you'll have this new breed of enemy now. Here's a lukewarm version. Pretty sure we are finished with this texture in particular. Looks really cute and cool. Here's the warm baby Zotulus, which looks really cool. So we're still working on these textures, and a huge, gigantic, enormous shout out to VRAXX, who actually makes these textures. They are really great, and we're still working on them. Just really busy right now, but he's doing this stuff for free, so I think it's very commendable and respectable. So shout out to VRAXX for making these. Also, as you have noticed, that one has armor, and that's because there's a chance for them to spawn with armor now. This is just constantly rolling the armor loot table. The Zombie Nautilus jockeys that spawn in the wild with the adult will have a chance to equip some armor on the Zombie Nautilus they're riding, same as the Undead horses that I showed off in the last video. So there's just a little bit more danger, and I think it's a fun addition, not only to have so many new variants of the Zombie Nautilus, but also to have the hostile babies to encounter and fight. That's honestly it for this video. There's not much else to show at this point other than the advancements, of which there are many, as you can tell, and also the dialogue system. It's still a work in progress as well, but that's going to be in the next video. I hope you guys enjoyed this showcase of the Nautilus and the Zombie Nautilus. It's not really that much stuff, but I do think it does actually change the game significantly to have all of these variants of the babies, because you'll be encountering them relatively frequently when you swim. So they're not too dangerous, but they are an obstacle and an enemy that you will face now in mob tweaks. Of course, starting with the next update. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to smash subscribe, ring my bell, and as always, stay